Alright, and we're finally getting to add in the algebra. Now let's take a look at our very first example, and it says given line R is parallel to line Q, which is so key, and angle H is equal to 5x plus 22, so there's angle H, and angle B is equal to 2 parentheses 6x plus 4. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and make this a fairly simple problem. We want to solve for x. What are we going to do? Well, I think the first thing we want to ask ourselves is, are angle H and B congruent, or are they supplementary? Meaning, do they equal each other, or do they add up to 180? So I'm going to write H, and I'm going to write B. And let's see. I'll notice a couple things. One, H corresponds with D. H corresponds with D. But H does not correspond with B. But I do know that D is a vertical angle to letter B. So can you think of any angles that we've learned about today that are corresponding and vertical angles? Yeah, and I hope that you would say that these are alternate angles. The next question becomes, well, where is H? Is H on the inside or the outside of these parallel lines? And I would say that H is on the outside. And so we call these alternate exterior angles, which means they are, in fact, congruent. So, in order to solve these, we want to go ahead and set them equal. 5x plus 22 is equal to 2 parentheses 6x plus 4. Now you might see that distribution on the right side and say, hey, that seems like a tough problem, but remember, this 2 simply multiplies by everything on the right. So we have 2 times 6x, which would be 12x, and 2 times 4, which would be 8, and of course this 5x plus 22 does not change. Now from there, ask yourself, do we want to move our smaller x or our larger x first? And of course, we all know we want to move our smaller x because it usually helps us keep things positive. So now we have 22 is equal to 12x minus 5x, which is 7x, plus 8. And in order to get the x by itself, we subtract 8 from both sides. 22 minus 8 will of course give us 14 is equal to 7x. We divide both sides by 7, and it turns out x equals 2. And so we have solved the problem. Now real quick though, what if I had said, let's just do like kind of an extension question here. What if I said, hey, I actually want you to find out what H is? Well, of course we do angle H is equal to 5 parentheses plus 22. And of course, we're going to plug in our x value, which was 2. And most of y'all can actually do this in your head. So let's just kind of do that. Let's talk it out. We know that 5 times 2 is 10, and 10 plus 22 is 32. So it turns out that H is going to be 32 degrees, which means that B would be 32 degrees. And of course, we even know from there we can find out the rest of the angles by subtracting 180 minus 32. All right, let's move on to our next example. Pause it if you need to take the notes. Okay, this will be our final example, so we'll call this one example 2. And I'll do this one a little bit more picture-based, but we're going to use 3 lines here. And always ask yourself, what is the most important thing about these 3 lines? Well, of course, we know that they must all be parallel. Okay, now from here, let's go ahead and draw our transversal. And let's go ahead and start adding in some numbers. So let's call this angle 1, angle 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And I'm going to give y'all some information. Let's say this. Let's say we know that angle, let's do angle 1 is equal to 6x plus 12. And let's say that angle 9 is equal to, say angle 9 is equal to 3x plus 21. Alright, And here's what I want you to do. I want you to find, we'll get real tricky here, find angle 8. I want you to find angle 8. Okay, so let's get rolling. First things first. I'm actually going to circle these 4 angles, and I'm going to ask myself, where is angle 1? And I see of these 4 angles, it's kind of up in the top left. Okay, so now I'm going to go down to my angle 9. That's down here. And I'm also going to ask myself, well, what position is angle 9 in? And I see it's also in the top left. So wait a second. We know that our angles are in the same position, so we can say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 9 because they are corresponding. Okay, and what is angle 1? Well, we know angle 1 was 6x plus 12, which is equal to angle 9, 3x plus 21. And let's just solve it down. Which x should we move first, the 6x or the 3x? And if you said the 3x, I would even ask you to ask yourself, why? Why the 3x? Well, 6x minus 3x gives us positive 3x, and it's always so much nicer to work with positives. Okay, from here, we want to get rid of the 12, so we subtract both sides by 12, and now we have 3x is equal to 21 minus 12, which is 9. And we're very fortunate this came out very nice and easy. We divide both sides by 3, and of course x equals 3. But notice, that's not what we're asking. We're saying, hey, we know what x is, but we want to figure out what is angle 8. Now check it out. I would then ask you this question. If we were to circle those middle 4 angles where angle 8 is, would 8 be in the top left, much like 9 and 1? And of course the answer is no. So here's what we're saying. We're actually going to say that adding on like a little addition here, angle 1 and 9 are corresponding with angle 5. But angle 5 is on a straight line with angle 8. So if we can find angle 5, we can find angle 8. Okay. And we know that angle 5 is congruent to both of these. So I would always encourage you to choose the one with these smaller numbers. So let's go ahead and write it as such. Let's say this. Let's say angle 9 is equal to 3 parentheses plus 21. And of course we know that our x is that 3. And 3 times 3 is 9 plus 21 is equal to 30. And that is a 21. Okay, so if angle 9 is equal to 30 degrees, well, so is angle 5. And once again, remember, we're saying that angle 5 and 8 are supplementary. They're on a straight line. So we can simply do 180 minus 30, and we'll get our answer, which is 150 degrees. All right? I hope this helps. Good luck, and I'll see you in our very next lesson.